But let's turn to Nintendo. The big focus, probably the big focus of the Nintendo conference was the 3DS. And this is why I think it's going to be a pretty close competition, because the 3DS software lineup was very solid. The main showcase they had for the 3DS was 5 big games, 4 of which were shown before, but they showed off like new stuff for each of them. They showed Super Mario, I forgot what it's called, the Mario 3DS game. And this is the first original 3D Mario on a handheld. They had Mario 64 on the DS, but that was an improved port from the 64 version, obviously. And this looks like a very solid game. It's its own thing, but it mixes elements from a lot of the Mario games of the past, and it looks like it's going to be a very good game. They showed Mario Kart. Well, I'm going to save that for last, because that one was the one that excited me the most. They showed Luigi's Mansion 2, which was a big announcement because Luigi's Mansion came like at the very beginning of the GameCube, so that's like when this starts 2 generations ago, and it hasn't been heard from since. So they're reviving that on the 3DS. And while this one didn't look as polished as the other games, I think it's had the least time in development. So by the time it ships, I think next year, it should be looking just as good as the other games that they showed off. And it looked like fun. I'm not like completely sold. That one got me the least excited of the 5 in terms of just the quality of the game, but it's still early, and it's probably going to be worth purchasing anyway. Both Star Fox and Kid Icarus, they showed the multiplayer for them, and Kid Icarus's multiplayer looks like it's going to be pretty fun online. Star Fox's multiplayer the feature that they showed off was that it uses the camera to capture the player as the game is going on, so you can like see the expressions of everybody as the battle is going. So I'm hoping that's not just like close Wi-Fi and is like regular play people from far away online. And I think it will be, but definitely those two look like very solid games. Now for Mario Kart is they showed screens of that like at last year's E3. It looked like a normal Mario Kart, and it was like it's looking pretty good, but it's not like wow. But Mario Kart was the one that just wowed me out of all 5 games, because they were showing off all these different features. They showed the kart go off the ramp, and then it transforms into like this hang gliding kart, which is just crazy, and it's never been done in Mario Kart before. They showed it going underwater, and there's like underwater driving now. They showed off like customization of the cars, where you can get like these big like kind of monster truckish wheels, and it just seems like there's going to be a lot new brought to this Mario Kart, which I don't think they really did that much of in the past few Mario Karts they've done. So this Mario Kart is definitely going to be a solid entry into the series. So I think the showing of the 3DS was very successful. They showed off some third-party stuff too. I believe they showed that Tekken is going to be on 3DS and several others. We already know that Resident Evil Revelations is coming, Resident Evil Mercenaries is coming sooner than that. So 3DS has a very strong software lineup that I don't think the the PlayStation Vita's software lineup competes with quite yet. So we'll see. This handheld battle is going to be more interesting than I think a lot of people thought it was going to be. But moving on to the Nintendo's next generation console, they announced that it's going to be called the Wii U. And I'm not really a fan of the name. It just seems like the Wii was very successful, and I can understand trying to keep that name recognition for the casual people out there, just saying, oh, it's a new Wii, but like some other people have said, it sounds kind of like just like an updated version of the Wii, like for example the DS Lite or several other things that have come out, the Xbox 360 Elite. Like if they called it the Wii 2, which several people were just calling it casually, when we didn't know the name. It would have made more sense because it seems like a successor to it. But Wii U doesn't sound like a good successor name to a console. But forgetting the name, hoping they change it in the time that they still have, that is kind of, the Wii U is kind of a question mark to me. They revealed the controller, which has been rumored for a while now, and they basically just confirmed that all the rumors were true. It's got a touchscreen, a big touchscreen. The games are able to stream to the controller. There's a camera on it, so all this information has been reported at one time or another through various sites. So just the reveal of the controller was exciting, but that having the knowledge previously kind of took away from that. And I'm just not quite sure about the controller. Like, it looks big, I've heard it's light, and it feels good, but I don't know if it's going to be like amazing. Like, the developers are enthusiastic about it, which is cool, and I think Nintendo's going to think up some very cool things to do with it, but there are just several factors in this. Like, one, what's going on with the Wii remotes? Like, they're showing games that work with the Wii remotes, but it seems like they've pretty much abandoned the motion control concept that they had last generation. Like, those of us who have Wii's and bought the Motion Plus and everything are going to be fine when it comes to games that use that, but since that's not going to be packed in with the console, most likely, is motion control kind of going to get abandoned and tossed to the wayside, and all the cool like FPS controls with the pointer and everything, all the development of that, is that just going to all be kind of a waste? Like, that was fun for a generation, but no, let's go to something else. And the price of this thing, it's got a controller on it. It's capable of streaming games on the controller. It's a touchscreen, like, and it's pretty big. Like, I can't imagine how much 4 of these controllers is going to cost for people who want to play this all together. But hopefully they'll be able to figure out a way to keep these controllers cheap, like relatively cheap. Like, the Wii remotes were expensive controllers compared to the rest of them, and hopefully it'll be around the Wii remote price, if not just a little bit more than that. But I think the big thing that concerned me was that we haven't really seen the power of this thing in action. Like, they showed this tech demo pretty much with this bird flying around and looked really good, but they didn't have any games to show, and it's understandable because we've got a while until the launch of this thing, and E3 isn't over yet. They could show something in the next few days. And they showed off this other Legend of Zelda tech demo, which looked amazing, just like really good. But the problem that the Wii had this generation, well, one of the problems, was that it was lacking in power compared to the 360 and the PS3. Like, they were significantly above the power of the Wii. So when it came to third-party developers developing for it, they didn't want to develop like a separate downgraded version. So a lot of multi-platform games didn't come to the Wii, and a lot of the ones that were like just like really bad, sometimes PS2 ports, or just like the B team developing for the Wii version. So this console is confirmed to be more powerful than the PS3 and the 360, but is it going to be powerful enough to compete with the next Sony and Microsoft consoles when they come out? Like, this is good for getting the multi-platform games that are currently out, and they've announced like several multi-platform games that are going to be coming. Arkham City, which I'm hyped about, but I'm not going to wait until the Wii U to buy. I'm going to buy it on PS3 probably, and several others. So that's going to be good for people who are Nintendo fans who may not own a 360 or a PS3, but for multi-platform owners, those games that are coming out soon, which are just going to get ports to the Wii U, it's not that much of a sell. The multi-platform games that they showed for the Wii U haven't been upgraded to take advantage of the power relay. They're probably going to feature some new little things that take advantage of the controller, but I don't think they're taking advantage of the graphical power of the console. So those aren't a good indicator of what the potential of it is. They can show what it can do minimally, and they show that we're going to be able to play Nintendo games and third-party games that look as good as the stuff we're getting on 360 and PS3, which is exciting for now. But I'm just waiting to see if it lives up to what everybody wants in terms of a significant leap past this current generation. Not the Wii, a significant leap past the 360 and PS3. The Zelda game that they showed was a tech demo, but it was they say that it's a good indicator of what a Zelda game could possibly look like, taking advantage of this hardware, and it really impressed me. Like, I'm a big fan of I like third-person games more than first-person games. So like Uncharted, Gears, and just something about this game, like, I'm not sure if it really was more technically impressive than those, and since it's not like running in real time, it's kind of easy to do that. But if that's how a Zelda would look on there with that art direction and that technology, then it impresses me more than all the third-person stuff that I've seen this generation, which is cool. So right now, I guess I'm just cautiously optimistic about the power of this thing and the potential of the controller. A lot of people were kind of annoyed that they didn't really show anything for the Wii, and I can understand that. Technically, they did show something, because in the Legend of Zelda montage that they had at the beginning, they showed a little bit of new Skyward Sword stuff. So while they didn't really focus on the Wii at all in this press conference, they didn't completely ignore it. And there's going to be other stuff going on throughout the conference, but it's a valid criticism, because the Wii is the current generation console for Nintendo, and it's what a lot of the Nintendo fans have, and some people don't even have other consoles to kind of tide them over until the next thing comes. And the Wii U isn't coming for a while, so that's going to be a long time to wait with just Skyward Sword. So fans were wanting them to announce Xenoblade and The Last Story coming to America, but they didn't announce that, and I think they've confirmed that those games might not be coming. So a lot of people were kind of ticked off about that. But the conference isn't over. Like, there is other stuff, and they've already released some other stuff in terms of trailers. They released a new Skyward Sword trailer, which looks good, and they released a trailer for the new Kirby Wii game, which looks good. If you're more of a traditional Kirby fan, then that's going to be more your game than Kirby Epic Yarn, which a lot of people were saying was too kiddie and too easy. Like, this looks like a more action-packed Kirby game. So they haven't like completely just ignored the Wii, but I do sense a shift in focus. Like, they want to make the 3DS successful. Like, so they're working on making this launch year successful with the games that they're putting out, and they've got a new console that they're trying to get people interested in. So they're kind of moving away from the Wii focus, because the Wii's been successful. It's sold a lot. There's not really that much more I think they want to accomplish with the Wii. So it's not that high a priority in terms of like the scale of 3DS, Wii U, and Wii. I think the Wii is their lowest priority right now, and it kind of showed in this conference. But oh, I can't believe I almost forgot this. They announced that a new Super Smash Bros. Is in development for both the Wii U and the 3DS, and they're going to be able to connect somehow. I don't think that you're going to directly be able to like play matches against them, but since the Wii U is so much more powerful than the 3DS, but there's going to be some kind of connectivity in there. So this was a pretty huge announcement, but they didn't have anything to show for it. We'll see in the next few days if they show anything or announce anything, any details about it. But I think since it was only an announcement, we'll see. We're probably not going to see anything for a while on this. Just like how when they announced Skyward Sword, they just had a picture at that E3, and then they showed footage at the next E3. I think it was playable at the next E3 maybe, and now they showed more of it, and it's finally coming out. So it can be a long time from when Nintendo announces a game to when it's actually released. But it is pretty exciting to know that Super Smash Bros. Is coming out. Like, Sony and Microsoft fans, you might not understand, but Super Smash Bros. Is a franchise that we Nintendo people take very seriously. It's to us kind of what a new Halo is for you all. It's that serious. So that was a really big announcement and kind of a good thing to have in there. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for me. So tell me what you thought about this conference if you watched it, and check out some of the links that I've got in the description.